Thanks for tuning back in to this week's Tip of the Week. We're super excited to bring to you excavation this week. We're going to be going through the excavation process on an open grade base application. Now there's a lot of terms that can be used with that. It's essentially a 3/4 inch clean stone on the bottom, a number 8 stone or 9 on top for your screeding, then your pavers. The other terms that can be used is a permeable base, 3/4 clean stone base, or a hybrid base system. So we're going to dive into it. Some of these principles may apply to a dense grade application as well, but again, this will be an open grade application project we did down in Pennsylvania. And just one more thing, if you have any comments or thoughts throughout this video, or you'd like to learn more about certain processes of what we're doing, please comment below. We like to hear from you, or you're more than welcome to give us a call at our phone number 860-870-8665. So let's show you what we did. All right, so the first part of excavation is the layout. There's a couple different ways to lay a project out. You can use the GPS Trimble system, a little bit more of a futuristic idea, but it is available. Or you can do tape measure and spray paint and mark it out. One thing I advise to do, spray paint a project out for the customer to visually see, because it always doesn't look the same as what they're thinking when it's on paper. Right, so lay it out, have them come out, confirm it before you start the excavation. The other thing you want to do is make sure you figure out your heights and elevations before starting excavation. Hopefully your designer went out on the job sites, got your heights and elevations, and has specific heights and elevations in your drawing. But if that's not the case, it's even more important to check your heights and elevations. Heights and elevations can change everything. Set up that laser, get it ready to go before you even put that bucket in the ground. And now as we talk about heights and elevation in excavation, there's a couple key things that we want to take away. Heights and elevations, we do not want to over excavate a project. That's going to cost us more material, it's going to cost us more time, and it's going to cost us the frustration of not being on the next project sooner. We don't want to over excavate the project. We want to make sure that we are right on in heights and elevations, and getting those heights and elevations is crucial before you start digging. Now we want to get into depth of excavation. Now, depending on your application, it really depends on your soils, your depth of excavation might change. Our rule of thumb was right around 8 to 10 inches of base material was what we wanted to be in. Now you can go as less as 6 if you have really good gravel, sandy soils, or you got clay soils and you want to go 2 feet. And a driveway application in clay soils or loomy soils, we would typically do about 2 feet of excavation using a number 2 stone underneath, drive grid, 3/4 inch stone on top of that, and then your bedding layer material. So again, depends on the application, and if you have questions on this, feel free to call me. But typically you want to be right around 6 to 10 inches depending on a residential application backyard. Keep in mind, we also will have utilities. A lot of times you're running gas, you're running electrical, you're running water into some of these grill islands and things of that nature. That's something you want to reach out to your township and figure out what the heights and elevations for those pipes need to be, so we make sure we are sticking to the codes that are being applied, and also getting inspections on that stuff is really important. And obviously it's going to depending on your location in your township, what's required. So just make sure you reach out to them and figure that out prior. Now, level subbase is extremely crucial. You do not want any imperfections in your subbase, and being level, make sure it's a level subbase, make sure you're compacting your subbase properly with the proper equipment. We run Weber with the comp control because it does give us a reading on what our compaction is, and again, that's another cheap insurance. And then we lay fabric, a woven geotextile fabric, on top of all of our subbase, in between our subbase material and our 3/4 inch clean stone. And this is going to help. It's a cheap insurance. It'll help spread the load over a larger surface area and help with any imperfections that might happen over time. You never know what's underneath that subbase material. I've done projects. One specifically stands out to me where I excavated the project, thought I was on good fill material around the pool, and all of a sudden I was digging up roots, I was digging up stumps, I was digging up wood chips. What a horrible experience that was. I had to then dig down 4 feet next to the pool, right? Bringing in clean stone, lots of fabric, lots of things to reinforce that material in hopes that I could stabilize it. And that's how I went about that. And then put down our 3/4 inch clean stone. We want to also compact that base material, that 3/4 inch clean stone. Once you dump it out of the truck, it's right around 90% proctor density dumped out, but it hasn't been consolidated yet. A little vibration from a plate compactor is helpful to help those stones consolidate. And also, we jump and jack all of our edges to drive that 3/4 inch stone into our sidewalls. We do lap our fabric up the edges of the sidewall excavation, but in order to get the stone to sit where its final destination is, we drive that into that sidewall and that fabric to help strengthen the edges. That's typically where you're going to see a fail. Also, over excavation on the side, we always did a foot. I would go no less than 8 inches of extra base to the outside edge. This is where we see a lot of our failures, is the outside edges of our pavers. So make sure you're excavating extra to accommodate that. When we grade the top, a couple things to keep in mind when grading the top. Lasers are key in this part. If you're still using a string or a string level, I really suggest look into some of the laser options that are on the market. Slope lasers are awesome. It's a great way to put slopes and grades already in the laser and set your heights and elevations so everywhere you go around that job, you're beeping solid. It's an easy way to figure out your heights and elevations and minimizes mistakes. Now, if you're using a typical laser, a smart level, or a zip level, those are all great tools as well. And those you're just going to have to kind of use your head and maybe write on a paper your dimensions and your heights and elevations so you can go around to get those to the right ones. What I would do when I was getting set for my 3/4 stone and screeding, I would go around with my laser, get my points, paint those points out, and connect the dots with a level and a rake, right? So at that point then, you can draw out those dots, connect those points, and that's going to give you a perfectly level setting bed. Now, most of these applications or most of these things that we're talking about can be used in a dense grade application. There's one thing to keep in mind: in dense grade application, the rule of thumb is you should not be able to fit a pencil underneath a 10-foot level. So that's how perfect you want that base. It's always key to get that base perfectly set, because the deviations in that base are going to eventually show on the pavers. And that is more prevalent in a dense grade application than an open grade. And an open grade with 3/4 clean stone, the number 8 chip stone on top of that, you're going to get less of that compaction. So you'll see less of that imperfection on an open grade application, which is a huge benefit to do an open grade. Well, if you made it this far in the video, clearly you see a value in watching this, and we appreciate you wanting to educate yourself and do better in the industry. Thank you. We also want to make sure that you watch the next video that we have. It's on screeding, which will be the next process. It's a video that's on the screen. Please click it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment below. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You can sign up for our tip of the week here, or you can watch more of our videos here. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and make sure you shop our products at pavetool.com. If you're located in Canada, you can shop at pavetool.ca.
Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday.